Good evening. I'll just put the video on for a couple of seconds just to say hello. I am here, but you'll probably see the audio's gone. Crap, it normally does, so camera off. So this is the beginning of Nut Chat. If we do get any issues with the audio, just message me, because today is a bit of an interesting one. Well, I'll say interesting. It's just stuff that's actually going on here. Because you may have been watching some of my other videos relating to some of the repairs and stuff that's been ongoing in the house lately. Van repair was the first one. Yeah, this is it. One other thing I will say to people is things just go wrong in life at some point, and you just got to work your way through it. And no life is perfect. Vagabond X, the audio is crapping out. Yeah, it's my Windows 10 download going on next door. Hang on. Is it still going out now? I just want, if there's gaps in the audio, it's me actually listening to the audio to see if it sounds okay or not. But it seems to be feeding through okay to this end. So it does sound okay from what I can hear. But I'll leave my audio on as well so I can actually hear it. Yeah, sounds going well now. Okay, yeah, because I've got Windows 10 being downloaded on my wife's laptop because I've had to change the hard drive of mine, and I thought I had a Vagabond. Give a test count: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's it. I think some of the delays was me actually stopping to listen to my audio to check it was clear. Yeah, I just wanted to say, like, not everything goes okay all the time for everybody. And I just want to point out, I have the same problems everybody else has in the world. This week, I spent a lot of time under my van. Or should I say a week? I probably needed 2 weeks. Looking for an electrical fault. I had an issue. It was I thought it was a fuel line issue, so I ended up changing the fuel filter, and then ended up finding a cable just dangling there when I was pushing my hands through the engine. But it got there. got it up and running. Big hello to Vagabond X, Njal Burn, and Gradanan. Is it Grandadan? Jamie just with drunken live chat. That's gone. I took that off unlisted. It was we were drunk at the time. Well, I was anyway. I don't drink very often. So I'd had let's just say a bottle and a half of wine, and I was a bit too enthusiastic. So yeah, it's not there. It's not there anymore. Hi, 2006 Crusader. If there's a sound gap, it's me. But just give it 5 minutes and see if it clears up. Hi, Mike S. Hi, everybody. Quite a busy night. It was expected to be quite quiet this time of night. It's 11:30 here in Spain, but the kids are off to bed. It's all nice and quiet now. And I was in the middle of moving files, so I thought, you know what, I'll have a quick chat. Yeah, I gave you a shout out, Mike. Yeah. Oh, Paul MacArthur as well. Hi, everybody. It's a busy room today. Yeah, so I just want to say, you know, like, I know I share lots of bits and pieces. I do wonder, you know, when I throw things on, like the car engine and things, if people go, why is that on the channel? But it's just to show that we have a normal life as well. Things crap out for us just as much as everybody else. So it's just the way, you know, like right now, I've tried to clone the drive on my laptop so I could just swap the drives over. That didn't go as well as I expected, so now I'm reinstalling it, but I haven't got Windows 10 here, so I've had to download it on another laptop so I can then install it, because it's all genuine stuff, but I just don't have any drives on anything. I'm on USB sticks, so I'm having to download it, then install it, then go through 2 days of updates, I suppose, but that's life. And if the icing on the cake was today was when I took my drone out the last weekend, me and my son took it out. He had picked it up by the prop protectors. It basically stops them shattering. Yeah, I don't know what this sound goes a bit weird. It does that something. I noticed on someone else's channel earlier though. I was listening to Mazaron, expat Mazaron, who does a lot of drone flying, and I had to load his channel about 6 times because it just timed out. It might be the load relating to YouTube. But yeah, my son was actually carrying the drone by its prop protectors, and they ended up getting broke. So I ended up taking them off. So I put the screws back in, and then discovered there's an issue with it, in the fact that the screws that come with the prop protectors go straight through the motors when you tighten them down. So I've now got to change 4 motors on my drone as well. So great week so far. But I think that's the important thing though, is in life you get this crap happen. You've just got to work through it. I mean, you can hear me, I just laugh it off, because at the end of the day, there's nothing I can do about it. It's no point getting annoyed about it. It's like I said to my son earlier, because he thought, I'll get, getting the blame or something, and it's like, accidents happen, Yeah, I've got to order these motors. So there's actually some good ones from Australia for just under £50. That'll be an eBay order for Monday. Yeah, and there's been some interesting stuff floating around in conversations and things relating to different people and different scenarios. And I just want to cover them. They're a bit random. One of the first ones is value of a relationship. Because I do find that some people have different variations on what they see as a relationship. And I do see, from my time in the Philippines, I can see the relationships deteriorating around the fact that they hadn't really gone into the relationship with the right ideas in the first place. Mike S., I'll cover the businesses in Marbella next. I'll come up with that. But yeah, with the relationships, I do think if you're going to go into a relationship, you've got to go into it. I do meet some guys that just go, well, I pay the bills, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, but that's not a relationship. You just happen to be happy with each other. You suit each other's needs. It's not a true relationship. And that's why when something goes wrong, it normally goes disastrously wrong. And I just wanted to put that out there, because I've had a few people ask me, but I'm quite simply saying, treat it as a relationship. You can't treat it as anything else. It has to be treated as a relationship. Okay, Mike S., any ideas on starting a business in Marbella? I would say you then need to look into it a bit more. I don't know enough about the area. It's not my neck in the woods. You'd have to see what's already there. One of the things I do notice around where we are is a poor quality of service with real estate agents. I find that even ourselves, when we actually message people on the behalf of other people, it can take 2 weeks to even get a response. Either phone, email, whatever. Some of these guys don't get back to you for ages. Now, if you were here for a week and suddenly you thought, you know what, I'm interested in that house, I want to buy that house, by the time they get back to you, you've already gone back home. You're not here anymore. Which is why tomorrow I'm actually meeting with a real estate agent, because we're going to look at ways to improve some of the marketing and developing more user-friendly technology. For example, 360 videos, 360 photographs, better photography for properties. There is a market there, certainly. Is there lots of phone repair companies in my area? No. There's only there's probably about 3 or 4 nearby, but predominantly not a lot going on. A lot of that stuff they use through Facebook. So you'll see it on, if you go, that's a good idea for if you look for businesses, getting all the Facebook groups and you can see what other people are doing, because a lot of them advertise on them very heavily. You see everything from window replacement to car sales and shutters, blinds, all sorts. One of the ones I've been seriously looking at is doing air conditioning, because obviously I come from that type of industry. So doing air conditioning servicing and maintenance to a standard that's EU compliant, which would be a big step. But yeah, there is businesses out there, and I suppose down Marbella way, there's probably going to be a lot more, even on the air conditioning. If you're on the more high-end buildings, there's going to be more money to be made on the air conditioning systems. In this area where I am, it's more of a swap them over, just put a new system in, because you can buy them cheap, but it's easy money, But I'm looking at actually doing a proper F-gas recovery and doing everything that would actually keep everything compliant and above board. And I know a lot of people don't do it in Spain, but at the same time, I think there's a market for actually doing it properly, because putting gas in the atmosphere and things like that may be quite common, but people simply shouldn't be doing it. Mobiganic, hi, how's it going? Neil Bryan, is the restaurant business seasonal in La Mata? Some of them are. The majority of them are open all year round, because quite simply there's enough business here. There's enough business for most of them to be open all the time. What they do is they sort of downscale over the winter periods. You'll see that there's 2 people in the restaurant instead of 4 or 5. They just reduce the number of staff, because at the end of the day, you're still paying the lease on the place, so you might as well be making money on it. Grandadia, Mike S, Marbella is a big zone. I mean, it's a lot of people around from Malaga to Marbella. It is a good place. Yeah, I agree. It is a good place, but I think you've got to spend a bit of time researching it. Yeah, I'm good. Mobiganic. Hope everyone else is as well. I hope everyone else is having a good week, even though it's Sunday. A few hours of this week left, or 15 minutes here. But yeah, I do think that there's plenty of opportunity. There's still opportunity in Spain. There's still going to be opportunities even after the Brexit thing. It's the end of the day, there's going to be this flurry of activity, a lot of negativity in the media. Then things will start to settle down again. And it's been, I mean, the thing is, people come to Spain before the EU kicked in, so they're still going to come afterwards. It ain't going to affect things too long term. There'll be a lot of dummy throwing and what have you, and politics, screaming and whatever, but it will settle down. It always does. I do think there's going to be a shift in the housing market as well, because quite simply, while there's all that uncertainty, the number of buyers is going to reduce. I don't think there's going to be a influx of people to the UK from Spain unless they do something bad with their pensions, because in all honesty, a lot of people are already locked into Spain because they've sold their properties in the UK. The houses they're in have devalued, so they've no interest in selling up. So I don't see many people leaving Spain, but it may reduce the numbers coming to Spain while the Brexit's ongoing, simply because they don't want to sign the name on a check for a house until they know everything's going to be 100% stable. And I know the Spanish side are very proactive in saying that the foreigners, expats and that aren't going to experience too many changes here because they don't want to lose us. I'm not just talking about the Brits, I'm talking about throughout the EU. Because, I mean, if you look at Torrevieja has about nearly 60% foreign people here. There's more than half the population is not Spanish. There's no way they want those people leaving. At the end of the day, there's a lot of money coming into the economy from people that don't come from Spain, which is why they want them to stay. At the end of the day, there's not a lot of cost orientated around people that have got their own incomes, etc. If they're on private healthcare, etc., they ain't costing the state nothing. So at the end of the day, I don't see them wanting any of these people going. They want them to stay here. They want more to come. And I think there may be some probably extra flack from the UK side, but I think Spain is seeing it from a common sense point of view that it's a beautiful country. They want people here economically. They want people here to develop industries. They want people to retire here. They're open for business, and I think that's the key element there. Yeah, it's an interesting topic. That was a good one. But yeah, Marbella, I think there's good opportunities there, but I haven't spent any time down there, so I can't really throw too much in the mix in that. Yeah, 2006 Crusade. I still remember the scam in Spain of houses built on farmland. Stuart Granger's was into that scam. They bulldoze all those houses. It's still going on. It's not over. There are still problems relating to land that's been built on nature. The former mayor Torrevieja had a 3-year jail sentence for exactly that. He built a spa on natural land, ain't allowed to build on it. And I know related to something else, Catral's got about 1,400 houses which are currently being looked at because they may be demolished. So yeah, and there's also some port areas I was reading on the newspapers that have a maximum of something like 25 years that you can construct in there. And obviously there's a load of houses in there. People are starting to go, oh, hang on a minute. These houses need to be knocked down. They shouldn't be here. So there's a lot of stuff going on relating to stuff that's already been built. But I do think people are a lot wiser to it today. And I think it's much harder for this sort of stuff to go on. But the worst culprits are, I would say, in all honesty, is local governments. You normally see mayor on most of this stuff, mayor, because they've signed it off locally, not nationally. And that's where a lot of this problems come from. Yeah, so just be aware of that. I mean, where we live, these buildings have been here since the 80s. I don't see anything changing. I can't see it being an issue. This was an old fishing village from what I've seen. Back in the 60s and 70s, there was only about 200 houses, and I think I've seen somebody mentioned about 2,000 or something here now. Grandaddy, Filipina to Spain, not big deal if you're from the EU and if you have a way of living there. Exactly. There's people here from everywhere. There's Russians here. There's a lot. As long as you can pay your way, Spain doesn't really care. And I don't want to say that in a pro-immigration, come here, everybody welcome type way. I just want to say that as long as you can pay your way and stuff, people, they're accommodating in Spain. It's very, very different to dealing with the UK. I would say it's difficult to deal with the Spanish embassies overseas to get all the visas done. A lot of people have gone via other embassies because it was just easier to process. Without any foundation. I'm still in the UK though as well. I've had to underpin properties where they haven't had any foundation, roofs staying out, etc., because of houses having no foundations. So that's the world over. The people get away with it to a point. I would say the properties like the one I'm living in, the big problem I would say with these days is the electrics want redoing and the pipework's redoing. If you buy one, new electrics, new pipework, new kitchen, new bathroom, and new aircon, complete refit. I would just do it all in one hit, rip all the walls out, do it all in one hit, and it's done for the next 25 years or longer. Because some of this stuff wasn't put in right in the first place, and it's not fantastic. I mean, just be aware of that. If buying a property, you got to look beyond what you can see in the room. There will be some renovation works involved. Who's next? Niall O'Brien. Do you think it's better to wait for Brexit to purchase a property in La Mata? I think the market here is already dropping a little bit. I think it's not. See, there's a big promotion on the number of houses selling. But one of the things they don't mention, a lot of the houses are selling for less than they were before. I've seen shifts of 10,000 euros on some properties. So I would say during that Brexit dip, where there's a bit of uncertainty, there could be some good deals to have because there'll be less people buying while they're waiting. Because a lot of people sit on the shelf. They want to wait and find out exactly what's going on before committing to something. So I do think there will be opportunities there, but I also do think there's a lot of properties, that are at the right price anyway. You've just got to shop around. Like so, Igor, I bought an apartment, which was 30,000 euros cheaper than one exactly the same in the next block. It's just finding the right people, and there's deals to be done. Grandaden. People from Morocco, they bring their wives here when they have a legal way of living, so the same way to others. Exactly. As long as you're paying your way, Spain is accommodating, and I mean that in the sense that I wouldn't say they're not bothered where you come from, but I would say that it's more accommodating than many countries in the sense of immigration. It does allow a lot of people to come from many places to here. As long as you're paying your way, paying your taxes, paying for your own social care, etc., they don't care where you come from. I would say here, from my own experience, it's probably one of the least racist places I've been on the planet. There may be issues at the immigration office, but it's more a case of they do it to everybody. At the end of the day, it's making sure everybody pays their way, because there is scams that go on. There is the show money where you'll get somebody open a bank account, put the money in there, somebody gets their paperwork processed, and then they take the money out, and then they give the money to somebody else, and they process it. And that's why there's been a sudden shift from where you could just go in with 5,000 to 6,000 euros per person to they won't tell you how much they want and how much they're accepting, because they're aware people have been basically lying. Hi, Straka. How's it going? Yeah, I don't mind helping anybody. At the end of the day, I help where I can. As you say, a lot of the advice is free anyway. And at the same time, I've got Andreas, and I'm meeting with a real estate agent tomorrow as well. So relating to properties and stuff in this area, I'm going to be looking at working closely with the guy tomorrow, because he's on the same mindset. At the end of the day, he knows there's opportunity to do it right. I'm not saying he's not doing it right already. I think they're a pretty good firm, but at the same time, I do think that good trust, people are getting the right properties, know they're getting a good deal, knowing they've got the right backup from maintenance, from lawyers and everything else, so you can move here without any worries. That would put me in a happy place. That's what I want. I want people. That's the whole point of the expat services stuff. At expat services .es to make life easy. Eventually I want to get a call line where even if you broke down at the side of the road, you can call us up and we'll sort the road recovery. Or if you get stopped by Guardia, you can turn around, call us up, and we'll get somebody there, or we'll deal with the Guardia on the phone for you. I want to make life easier for people here. Yeah, sure. You can get me on my email at Matt, that's 2 T's, at expatservices.es. Anything to do with immigration, I keep that one separate. When I say immigration, I mean Spain. And anything to do with Spain, it's on that email. Because I have other emails for different things, but I can get up to 150 emails in a day. So it's why I try to keep them separate categories. Just keeps me organized. So that, want to help, just give us a shout. Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, it's a good little flurry of activity there. Yeah, this topic probably comes into this. Actually, it was something I was writing down earlier. Relocate and restart. What I was thinking on this is, I think some people move country. And you're welcome, Neil. They move country and looking to do something different. One of the things I will say about Spain, if you embrace the culture, you embrace what's here, you're going to love it. You really are. I know reading this stuff, and because I can't say I speak to anybody on the negative side. I've only been reading this stuff relating to people that have had negative experiences in Spain. it's normally around, like some it's been brought up already, the land grab thing where the land was illegally sold, etc. But then you have bad customer service, which is normal. But if you've got people that speak Spanish, then it makes it much easier to deal with people. Most things can be worked around. It's like me. I know my Spanish is crap, and that's why I'm working at it. I'm starting to get back into it again, because when I was doing the spreadsheet stuff, I had to stop because, quite simply, I was working flat out doing spreadsheets because the project was behind when I got involved, which was the main reason I was brought involved, to actually sort it out. But now I'm focusing back on my Spanish, because I know if I'm fluent in Spanish, then I could even get the same type of work I do in the UK, because it's my work's global. But without Spanish, it's pointless. There's no point even applying for some of these jobs, because if I don't speak the lingo, I can't deal with the legal documents that are involved. And that's the important point. I deal with legal documents because when we do contracts, they have it's legal contracts relating to what's carried out within that contract. So, for example, say I was managing specific buildings, then within that contract, it would tell me my T&Cs relating to generator maintenance, relating to light changes, everything. So that's why I need to speak Spanish, and to a good level, because I've got to be fluent in it, because I need to understand the scope of the contracts without boring people too much. So moving on. But yeah, I think if you come to Spain, you need to. A lot of people have said they've changed their entire career because they haven't found the work that they've done before, and I do think that's understandable, but at the same time, I do think the opportunities are there. Grandaddian, that happens also to Spaniards. Have always to be careful, but that is not the normal situation. I mean, people cheating is not normal to find. No, but I think it's one of the biggest things that hit the media, and it still hits the media now, because it's still sort of repercussions, because some of these bits of land have been carrying over, because, like I was saying, with the port areas, they're now coming up to the end of the contracts, where people weren't even aware they couldn't build there, because at the end of the day, there's actually terms in there that say you can construct here for 25 years, and then after that it's got to be demolished. So they didn't read the small print, or the small print was missing conveniently. Jamie Fernandez, do you have any Spanish courses you recommend? My wife uses, hang on, because I use Duolingo a lot, and I'll be honest with you, Duolingo is good for vocabulary in a singular sense. It's not good for sentences. It's not good for speech. It's just good for learning the words. Memrise, my wife uses a lot, and she finds that useful. And my wife's pretty fluent already in Spanish, so yeah. Although she does speak to the teachers and stuff as well. The best answer is buying a local coffee. Finding a local you can bother every day for 20 minutes to an hour, and just get them to talk to you and you talk to them, and it'll develop from there. But I do recommend things like Duolingo and other bits of software just for the background. And if you shop around, there's a lot of free ones around as well. There's some that come from the newspapers in the UK. I've got somebody who sent me a load over from the UK. That was nice. One of my YouTubers, the YouTube listener, sent me a load of stuff from the UK. Connor. So I just want to say I do appreciate that, and I do listen to them. But yeah, it does take a bit of learning. Yeah, that's it. Jamie Fernandez. I used Duolingo for German, and most phrases are nonsense, even in Spanish. Well, you do get the odd one, like putting the cat is on the table, or the dog is on the coat. It's sort of strange ones. But I also say it depends what language it is, because I also did the German one there, and I found that they're very different. The Spanish one seems more developed than the German language one. But I went through the German one quite quickly, because I spent a lot of my childhood in Germany. I lived there for 6 years. So it's just nice to actually go through a refresher and actually remember a lot of words that I hadn't forgotten. They were just in the back of my head, because as soon as I started getting asked questions on the old Duolingo, I knew what they were. So it was nice to have that. One of the things I want to bring up today is about within the vlogging community. It's not so bad in the Spanish. In fact, I haven't even seen any in the Spanish side whatsoever. And it's certainly not on the drone guys. But in the Philippines, we do seem to be suffering with trolling with a few people. Myself, I'm going to move away from it. I'll help and support people that have got issues with some of these people. Quite simply, some of the stuff they get up to is quite vindictive, and I know they're doing it for YouTube views, and I do find that a little bit sad, in the sense that I know some of these guys go to some nice locations. They don't even have to say a single word. They just videoed around where they are. They would actually get a reasonable amount of hits, probably do better than they actually do anyway. But myself, I'm going to move away from the trolling. But I do want to say, though, with some of these guys, you've got to be aware, if people actually put videos out trying to explain some of this stuff, it's because of some of the stuff these people have been saying. Because they've got to put out it from the other side as much as possible. Because these guys just troll. It's lies, it's made up, it's manipulated, it's trying to get people to argue. But at some point, you've got to feed some of it back, just to say, you know what, call it a day. Because you've got to put your little bit out there so that people understand that these people are just idiots, and then just move on from it. But for myself, I'm moving on. But I do know, if anybody has any problems with some of these guys, I'll quite happily help them with trying to do some things to remove them. Yeah, which gets me on an important one. What makes you happy? Because I think that's one of the fundamental things that go wrong with people moving to another country if they don't plan out what they're going to do with their time, especially if you're retiring. Because if you're retiring, it's keeping occupied. I know in the Philippines, a lot of people seem to find the bottom of a bottle because they don't have enough other things to keep them occupied. Here in Spain, I would say it's probably easier to keep occupied, although obviously there's still a lot of people here that enjoy a drink on a regular basis. But at the same time, I do think if you're serious about moving to another country, it's worth hunting down some of the hobbies you already have, or trying to find some new ones, just so that when you've got that quiet period or something, you've got something to keep you occupied. I did see there's a guy with a YouTube channel where he started going to the walking. Yeah, Niall Byrne. Watching vloggers in the Philippines encourage you to lose the will to live. Best avoided. There's some good ones out there, but the problem is there's some very bad ones as well. It saddens me a bit, because I love the Philippines, and I do think some of the negative guys out there are really bashing it, and it's unjustified. Everywhere has its warts, and I do think that playing tit for tat, or just doing it for vlog views, isn't a good way to go. Yeah, but like I say, you do get stuck with it. Sometimes you get forced into responding because of some of the stuff that people come out with. But at the same time, I think that going around and actually identifying these people and what their problems are, and then just going, it ain't worth the effort, is probably a better way of doing it. Because, if you say, well, that's a load of crap about me, but this guy is XYZ, there's all the information, move on. Yeah, that's an interesting one. Good idea, Jamie. As well as, if you listen to movies in Spain, some have South American expressions to translate. Yes, it's complicated. Yes, Duolingo's got a lot of South American Spanish in there, because that's one of the things my wife picks up quite a lot. See, for me, I don't notice it because obviously I'm not fluent in Spanish. But it's like people say sandwich in in the Lamata. If you ask for a sandwich, they give you a sandwich. But I'm sure somebody will give me the word because I can't remember off the. Is it empilado, something like that, which is the one in Duolingo. But nobody, as far as I'm aware, nobody says that here. But it means sandwich. But I've got that wrong off the top of my head. Yeah, there's you got blends of languages in there, so you got to be careful. That's why going with a native speaker from the country you're going to is the best way, because you're going to pick it up. Because there's also bocadillo, yeah, emparado, yeah, that's it, Jamie, emparado. That's what the Duolingo says. But if people look at you blankly if you say that here in La Mata. Yeah, Jamie says, yeah, not in Spain. Yeah, they don't say that. They look at you, they're like, what? Yeah, I just want a sandwich. But the funniest thing is the numbers. The big problem I have with numbers is I keep going into Bisaya, which is from the Philippines, or French, because obviously it starts with, un, deux. And I start going into French, and it's like, it's so difficult to just keep it on track because the other numbers are already ingrained and it's so similar. Rob Julian, when's your next trip to the Philippines? At the moment, we're just waiting for the visa stuff to come through. Everything's been submitted. We're just waiting to see if everything goes through okay. If not, one of the things they may ask for is if we can put 3 months healthcare, private healthcare and stuff through. So I just got to wait and see what they want, because we have regular income, we have pretty much everything they want, but it's just making sure they've got what they want, because they may actually say, well, can you submit this over the next 3 months or whatever. Or they may just go, yeah, that's fine, and tick the box, and then, which would be fantastic. So after I've got that, that's probably we'll make that decision. But we're going back to the Philippines at some point this year. Yeah, Straka, shouldn't you spend several months in each retirement location before you make your decision? I would say, yeah, you should, because one of the things I noticed about Cebu is you start to see people move away over time, the ones that have gone elsewhere, because this is in the Philippines, because Cebu becomes like a hub, where a lot of people come first, and then they settle there because they've met somebody there. And then they go and visit somebody else on another island or something. They go, it's cheaper here. It's better here. I like it here. There's less dust or whatever. And they suddenly realize that they want to move away from where they are. They've gotten down the route of purchasing a property or something, which is why I recommend getting a base for 6 months and just doing a little bit of traveling, because it's not expensive to travel around the Philippines. So yeah, in Spain, I would say it's similar, but I'd say it's probably a bit harder to do in the Philippines. In Spain, it may even be worth getting one of those mobile homes, hiring a mobile home just to travel around a bit, because it'll work out cheaper than a hotel. But you can carry all your stuff around with you, so you can actually do a bit of a tour of the country before you even decide where you're settling. Just plan on doing a tour would be a good idea, I think. Yeah, that's Grandadan says, yeah, 2000 Brazilians have problems to understand the Portuguese. Portuguese understand all Brazilians. Why? Because too many soaps from Brazil. This was a funny thing, because a friend of mine was on the oil rigs in Brazil, and he would buy goods from the supermarkets and whatever. And yeah, the language issue is very different. It's very strange. Because Portuguese in Portugal is faster. From Jamie, I would say I found it easier to understand people in Valencia than I do in La Mata. And probably the same thing. They do speak slower in Valencia, I find. In La Mata, I find it's a bit like a sewing machine. It sort of starts off slow, then it suddenly goes zzz, and you're just like, can you slow down a bit? It's a sentence, not one word. It does. People do speak very fast here. But yeah, I found in Valencia, it's just people speak a bit slower. George Vishdeni, Although I guess you'll locate where the work is. Depends. A lot of the guys make money online, include myself. For me, work-wise, I just travel anyway. When I was before, well, while I was here, actually, when I was working in the UK and commuting back, I was actually all over the UK from Scotland to the south coast of I was in Portsmouth, so I covered most of the UK. So in that instance, it's more nearer the airport for me than anything else, or it's working from home. So yeah, it depends what everybody wants to do, and I think that's the important bit. It's whatever suits you, but also like here in La Mata, the properties aren't the newest. They're not the most energy efficient, but we got the beach on one side and we got the nature park on the other, which is why we're here. This is why we like this location. It doesn't have a big bustling industry, but would I want to be in an environment that has that? For me, no. I do enough of that stuff when I'm actually working properly. So yeah, I like to get away from that stuff. But it all depends how people want to live and are they commuting for work. Because if they're not, then they've got a lot more options open to them. Because if you're working from a laptop lifestyle, you're probably more likely to be concerned about the internet than anything else. Because if you got the internet, you can be anywhere on the planet. Which brings me on to an important thing. When I say important, I just mean that it's something interesting for me. I've noticed Lebara's got some internet tariffs. They can offer up to 6 GB of memory now. Bandwidth use. So I might be starting to look at seeing if I can get Lebara to link up to my laptop so I can do some live chats with some live video feed. Because the thing with the data on the internet is super fast. I just hope it doesn't eat 6 GB like no tomorrow. But I might look at doing that when we're out and about, and say like Murcia or down in Cartagena, so that we can actually video some of the locations we go out and about to. But I think I'm going to be putting that off till I fix the drone, though, because I want to get the drone out and about. It's a good piece of kit, and after watching Expat and Mazeron, all the stuff he's coming out with, I'm thinking, you know what, I should be getting the drone out more and more and not leaving it to gather dust under the bed. But it'd be nice to get that up and working. I see the big billboard for Fibra. Yeah, Jamie Fernandez. Isn't Fibra getting there soon? I can see the billboard. The billboard's been there for 2 years. And we have called them. We called them last week, and we've called every company, and they're all like, the only company in your area is Movistar. And yeah, we've got the only internet we can get, which is sad. It'd be nice to get fiber. I tell you what, if I had fiber, I would be doing a lot more live chats with the video and stuff. But it's difficult. It's really hard work, because I noticed I think there's fiber. They're in certain locations. They're not anywhere near me. I know if I went to the top of the hill here, which is about 20 minutes walk, I can get 20 megabyte connection there. But where I am, I get 3 for a 10 megabyte connection. And even the engineer says, well, that's all there is. I did ask. 2006 Crusader. In the Philippines, safety is a big problem. If you want to start something in the province, Aba Sayyaf, communists are still a problem. It depends where you are, I suppose. I've never experienced any issues myself. So it's, I suppose, which island you're on. There is a lot of things offshore on more isolated locations where there's less control. So yeah, I would say it's a problem in some areas. I know somebody lost their farm because a certain group had moved south and had basically overrun it, and basically it become theirs. So there is some problems in some locations, that's for sure. Jamie Fernandez, back to the internet stuff. It's almost here, and I'm in the crappiest part of Spain. Well, if you're getting it, then and I hope you get it same time as I do, very soon. I hope, because they don't tell you when. They don't. That's the bizarre thing. There's doesn't seem to be anything going. We're going to be installing over the next 2 years, and you'll get it in May 2018 or something like that. It's just like it's not available in your area. Yeah, Straka video location pics would be fantastic. I agree. So the other thing is, if I go with a new drone, I can actually live stream off the drone as well. So I could actually add a second camera to a laptop and be flying the drone. You can actually see the live feed as well. Yeah, Grandadian. Kalahora only has a few thousand people and have fiber. Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, where I am, there is no people. You know, we're a bit of a ghost town here. I don't know what the population is out of season, but I think I know most of the people in the area. So it's not many. It's probably a couple of hundred in all honesty. I don't think it'd be thousands. Yeah, 2006 Crusade. We don't need to see you, Matt. Thanks. Love you too. The drone would get it from my laptop. What had happened is the drone feed would go to my phone, and then it could live stream through my laptop. So that's what I'll be looking at doing. I'm just going to stick kettle on because I'm getting a bit of a dry throat here. Yes, so it would all interconnect, but also if I've got a good live stream and it's mobile, I can also put the van on it as well. I could stick the 360 camera on the roof. Could even have a full-blown 360 journeys around places. Obviously, I wouldn't do it everywhere. It'd be up where we find something interesting to see. I'm sure people don't want to watch the motorway for hours. But it'd be good to see, like, going up into the mountains or some of the lakes and things like that. It'd be perfect, especially when I get it in high quality. That's why I really want it. You know, but I don't think 6 gigs going to be enough. So I need to have a think on it, because there must be options out there for doing it. But yeah, I'd certainly love to do that stuff. Especially Granddaddy, and do you have skills to control the staff in the air and make it go to places you want? Yeah, the thing with the app, if you set the app up, you can actually set the altitude on the drone and get it to go there by itself, because it'll use waypoints. You can actually set the waypoints, so it'll head there itself. So you don't really need to be flying it as much. Because at the moment, I've got a Phantom 1, which is one of the original ones. But I'm looking at the Phantom 3. I was looking at the Phantom 4, but I think this year I'm going to be seriously having to look at buying a car as well, you know, because if April gets all her paperwork through, I want to get April driving soon, so she's a bit more mobile, a bit more independent, so that takes some of my drone budget. But yeah, you see an accident. Yeah, there's already been an accident. I've got a video of me crashing one already. Yeah, Jamie Fernandez, very careful with a drone around nature parks. You can get fined up to €6,000. Yeah, you've got to be very careful where you fly them. You can't fly them on the beach either. If there's anybody on the beach, you could be in trouble as well. You also can't fly at night. There is specific rules. Yeah, you've got to be very careful with it. But at the same time, a lot of as long as you've got the rules and have them in English and Spanish, so you know, well, if you speak Spanish, you don't need the English version. But because the Guardia and that often aren't familiar with it. I mean, the big problem I know in the UK is not actually from the police. It comes from the civil aviation authorities, where the fines can be seriously hefty, because there's been a few people caught flying over stadiums. Yeah, I think the fine is like £30,000 or something crazy, because obviously they take it more as a plane rather than a small drone flying. But I'll be honest, I'm not going to fly any crazy heights of that anyway. I'm more interested in getting it to a point where I can get some good video footage. I'm not looking to go wild with it. yeah, fines you got to be careful of course. Yeah, I mean, the thing in Spain is there is, as Jamie pointed out, there is a lot of nature parks, and the thing with these locations, if you're not 100%, just go and ask. There's people in those buildings that are, I mean, like the one over the road, there's an office there. You can approach them, you can speak to them, and they'll tell you if it's okay or not. You know, because if you get there, they're okay on it, then I don't think you're going to have too many problems, because obviously it's under their control. The same as I know the guy, expat in Mazaron, has even flown over a golf course with the consent of the people of the golf course, because I think it was for them. But yeah, you've got to be careful with the drones. It's the risks on them are not too bad. The problem I've had with mine is it sort of went home. There's a go home scenario on it where it'll actually try to fly back to base. It lost the signal, shot up in the air, and ended up in a neighbor's garden. And all I was like thinking was, I'm going to hear this crash through a roof or a car or something in a minute, because I was only low level flying. So for me, it should have only crashed at like maybe a maximum of probably about 10 feet, because I was just getting the navigation on the thing. But it does have a go home where it just shoots up in the air and tries to go home. Hi, Alan. Have you ever been to Mallorca? No, not yet. I've got, in all honesty, Spain was one of those countries I've never been to before. Yeah, I come over to meet a friend of mine a while back and just have a look at Spain, and basically just ended up settling here. Anna Winter, can these drones be upgraded to hold Scud missiles? I don't think it could hold well, the Scud missile can fly itself. It doesn't need one. But yeah, well, the funny thing is I keep mixing mine up, because I keep saying the Predator rather than the Phantom, because obviously the Phantom is the small one I have, and the Predator is the one the military use. But yeah, they wouldn't carry it. It wouldn't carry a Scud missile. You need a truck for one of those. It's a bit on the heavy side. Hi, Hello Winter. So, Alan, are you down in Mallorca? Yes, I know, Hello Winter. But there's no harm in trying. I mean, I'm sure. I mean, you could do a fly-by-wire, I suppose. You could probably shoot one down with one. You could probably blow a drone up with one of them. I went to Mallorca last year, and on the first day, got sunburn. As a Scotsman myself, I'm a middle bottle LMAO. Yeah, I know that. I don't get sunburn too often these days. I've been out in the sun a decade, though. Yeah, the thing. Yeah, I was surprised they speak Spanish and Catalan. There's a big push on languages, especially where we are at the moment. We seem to be, the whole language issue is becoming a major one, because they're trying to push the Valencian identity into this region. So they are pushing it quite hard, even above the English language. Now, I say above the English language, not in the sense of being arrogant, but simply that obviously international languages have a lot more use outside of Spain itself. Yeah, this hi Bob Mason joins us. How's it going? Yeah, the languages is becoming languages is becoming a problem, because they're trying to push some of the other subjects out to reinforce the use of local dialects, local languages. Isn't the Catalan region a massive part of Spain? Yes, it's big, but at the same time, it's that's it. Because Jamie will probably be able to confirm this with us. The people from Catalan don't like Madrid. They see Madrid as taking some of its money. That's They do, you know, the people we know are always complaining about the issue with Madrid. They think Madrid takes their cash. I think Barcelona, for example, has more money going to Madrid than it takes out. It's politics. Alla Winter, you know what's weird? When I renew this site now, I would see you in your living room just for a second, not your avatar. Yeah, no, I did. Yeah, I put that on the start just so people know what I look like. It's not some sort of like horror movie type thing. I did put it on for the first couple of seconds. The Vagabond X, how is Spain for teaching ESL? There's a lot of opportunities for teaching English. The schools offer jobs regularly. A lot of them want you on contracts. A lot of them want you self-employed. They want you to have CELTA. But at the same time, there is opportunity actually teaching privately as well, and teaching to businesses. There is also the fact that you can teach from home. I mean, one of the things I'm looking at the moment is starting to develop the English teaching, because I've got a bit more time from next week, because I've just about finished the website I've been working on as well. So the English teaching, you can get sustainable on that quite quickly. Yeah, you can do it, and it's easy to make money. I can even give you some people that can get you some cash flow going from Asia, so that you can actually teach online Asian students while you get set up in Spain, because the rates are higher in Spain. But just to get kick started, Alan, I went to an Audi store in Mallorca and it was cheap. I looked at a sign read Esmos. I gotta go scroll back up now. Esmozars or something. It meant breakfast. Yeah, I'm not sure what that. Yeah, that might not be in Spanish. I'm not sure what that one is. I'm sure. I know. Hang on a second. Jamie will be able to tell you what it means. Jamie's on the ball with the languages. 2000 Crusader. I speak 8 languages fluently. Know at least 15 others and learning 3 at the moment. Yeah, I like learning languages, but it's time for me. It really is time, because I get so involved in multiple things at the same time. I've started getting better organized this year. This is why the website I focused on predominantly for the last 3 weeks, and fitted it around the work coming out of the UK. The work in the UK is just about finished now. I've got a couple other contracts that we're trying to negotiate some meetings with. If those come off, that'll be me for the year. But that's the problem. When these contracts kick in, I can't do anything else because it's a steep learning curve. Yeah, Jamie Fernandez. Except the reason Barcelona is rich now is the money from other regions that are now crap going there. Yeah, that's what's it. Politics. Hi, I'm Alan. I want to know what's dumb. On my first time flying, I paid €10 for a crappy play meal. Small curry meal, snack Pringles, and small iced tea. Yeah, you live and learn. You live and learn. I always have something at the airport. You know, if I'm going to eat, I'll have it at the airport before I get on the plane. Even if it's a bit more pricey, at least you got a good chance of it being reasonable. Jamie Fernandez, by the way, Matt, I think trying to do something with drones and missiles may cause harm. yeah. Ella Winter's not serious. Yeah, I'm sure that it would be frowned upon. Yeah, Grandaden. Yes, Alan. In Portuguese, almoçar, pronounced almoçar, as you see, comes from the decime basis. Yeah, I'm managing to read this from my. That's a new thing. My eyesight's a bit better today because I'm sitting a bit further away from the screen because I've got the mic in front of me, so I struggle to actually read off the screen sometimes. Yeah, I've sort of lost my chain of thought. Now. That'd be a good thing. 2000 Crusader. How did you find it easy to pick up the languages? Did you find it was easier once you picked up your second one? Or which languages did you find easiest to start? Yeah, that's it. Almuerzo is like brunch here. Yeah, it's like, yeah, breakfast, lunch. Yeah. I'm just making my coffee, by the way, so I've disappeared for a second. Apologies for that, because if you're not in the live chat, that would have just been a completely quiet moment because people are talking. And well, they're not talking; they're texting in the live chat, but nobody's speaking on the mic. But yeah, I had to get a coffee going because otherwise my throat's going to dry out. Yeah, hi, I'm Alan. Once you train your ear, it becomes easy to pick up words. Yeah, I think it starts to come together. And like 2000 Crusader just brought up, I just listened for 4 to 6 months, then I start asking. Yeah, I agree. It's because I went back to Duolingo yesterday because I haven't used it much because I've been busy with work, and I just went through like the first 10 levels without any mistakes, because I think you absorb it and then you start to build it up. And that's what I say. I think Duolingo is good for vocabulary, but it is no good for sentences. It just doesn't have the structure. It doesn't have the pronunciation. You're not talking to it and getting the feedback to say you're right or wrong. It's just good for building up word vocabulary, which is a start. It gets you going. Outback Dave, remember you can enlarge the screen to make it easier to read. Yes, I know, but the problem is when I do that and then I have to look at something else, it messes up my whole screen. So, but thanks for that. What I could do is get another screen out of the bedroom. I've got another big screen in the bedroom. I could put them side by side. I'll have one on giant text, but about the size of like the airplane boards that tell you the flight's cancelled. Get it that sort of size so I can read it. Yeah, that's it. Hi, I'm Alan. Duolingo is a great review tool to keep your vocab in check. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's good for anything beyond that, but it's very, very good. But also, I know when it speaks, I don't need to read it either, because you become familiar with the sounds. But I'm still struggling with my Spanish, which is it really gets me a bit irritable, because I pick up things really fast. I mean, I can pick up coding for like Linux. I was programming within the Asterisk system for telephone exchanges and things within a month. I was like knowing them inside out. But it's learning Spanish much harder. Yeah, Jamie Fernandez, tell your wife to speak to you in Spanish, not English. Yeah, I will do. I think I'm going to start doing that this week. I'll have to start forcing people to not speak to me in English, so that I can actually improve a bit quicker. Well, a lot quicker. Yeah, 2006 Crusader, for example, the Thai language is tricky. 5 tones for almost every word. You use the wrong tone, you can say the most nasty thing and get into trouble for. Yeah, one of my students is Thai, and I know the sounds as well. The sounds in the speech are different as well, because I've had to do a lot of work on her pronunciation because they don't have it. Jamie Fernandez, maybe try to make videos in Spanish. To be honest, Jamie, I was thinking actually doing some like 10 words and 10 phrases type videos, because I think some people may actually find them useful, because obviously if I'm finding them useful going through from a beginner's point of view, it's going to be at the same level as themselves or slightly ahead, because obviously if I already have the words and phrases, it's just a little bit ahead of them, but it may actually work quite well. Yeah, that could work quite well. That's a good idea. Uh, yeah, Grandaddian. Better if you listen and learn the words speaking. I agree. I agree because obviously you got, like it's been brought up earlier, about the differences between Duolingo with South America and what have you. Some of the words aren't correct because they're obviously different languages, even though they're very very similar. Straka, hi Matt. I'm assuming your wife is Filipina. How was her transition to Spain and your children's adjustments? I would think children adapt well, but sometimes adults struggle more. My kids love it here. They integrate in the school really well. At first, obviously, they didn't speak Spanish, but we had a meeting last week relating to my daughter because my daughter's got autism. So we have regular meetings with the school. And they were asking about some of the things relating to her language because she actually speaks English in the house and Spanish at school. Because because her autism's actually around communication, so they were quite surprised that she can actually speak in both languages when she decides to. Because a lot of the time it's just like you've got to get her to speak. But she speaks many languages. She'll sing songs and stuff in Thai, in Japanese, in Korean. So I think once we get her language communication unlocked, I wouldn't be surprised if she speaks a ridiculous amount of languages because she just absorbs it like nothing. They had a music teacher there. They would just play her, like they would show her one thing, like say a small tune, and she could play it back instantly. She'd memorized it. It's yeah. But yeah, my wife, no problems either because the Bisaya and the Spanish are very similar. A lot of the words are the same, numbers are the same, days are the same, etc. So my wife's integration was really fast. Her Spanish is very fluent. All the time, people are saying your Spanish is very good. Every time because she'll speak in Spanish the whole time, is speaking to teachers, going to the shop, whatever. She's bilingual already. Yeah, so she's way ahead of me, that's for sure. Yeah, hi, I'm Alan. Learning Mongolian is quite a challenge for me at the moment. It's got a very unique sound to it. Yeah, that's an interesting one. What made you decide to do Mongolian? Because the reason I ask, I've got a friend, Kento. Kento is well into the Mongolian. So it'd be that's a fascinating one. Why you would pick Mongolian to start on? Grandaddian. Hang on, there's multiple. Yeah, that's awesome. Bilingual children. Yeah, but my kids speak English. They speak Bisaya. They speak Tagalog. They speak Spanish. My son speaks a bit of Russian as well because most of his friends are Russian. Yeah, the absorbing at that age, they're ahead of the game when it comes to getting a job. They could be a real estate agent when they're older without any trouble. But whatever job they choose to, I think they're ahead of the game for a lot of people because they're already multilingual, but also they'll find it easier to learn other languages. Grandada, my wife is Filipina too, and she loves Spain, Portugal, France. Let's see if Brexiters let me take her to Westminster. Yeah, I mean, the one thing we have is we'll visit Spain, we'll visit the UK. It's not somewhere we want to live, and it's not that I'm bashing the UK. It's just not for us anymore. I think there's been too much changes lately. It's a bit sad in that sense. But yeah, my wife loves France. We haven't been to Portugal yet, but it'll be on the list, that's for sure. Jimmy Fernandez, I can imagine your first video in Spanish. Hola, soy El Mato. Yeah, I'm going to work on it first. I'm not going to just go live. I'll make sure it's been practiced a little bit so I can get the pronunciation correct, because I'm not going to be guilty of teaching somebody the wrong pronunciation. Hi, I'm Alan. I got into Mongolian because of a couple of things. I really like Mongolian throat singing. Also, I've watched many documentaries and the history is fascinating. I like the unique sound too. Yeah, I got interested in the horse riding, to be honest. That's the main thing I was for the Mongolian side. It's an interest in the horse riding. Yeah. Yeah, the situation here in Scotland is horrible too. I was a nationalist for a long time, all for Scottish independence, but now I think the SNP are ridiculous. Without getting too much into politics, I was actually in Scotland for the referendum. I was actually at RBS Bank because I was dealing with their maintenance. Carillion had just taken the contract over from Mighty because we carry out the maintenance for the whole of RBS Bank throughout the United Kingdom. So I was actually at wow, what's it called again? The biggest stage just outside Edinburgh. I was there anyway. Oh, you're with RBS. Is it, what's the name of their headquarters again? The World HQ. It's something like it begins with a B. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head because that's where it was. That's the bizarre thing. It's just one of those things just slipped my mind because I was. Which branch are you in? The branch or are you in one of the offices? Because if you were in one of the call centers or something, you might have bumped into me because I was there looking after most of Scotland. Because I started off looking after the west of Scotland. I was looking after the offices in Glasgow. I looked after started off in Glasgow, then I went over to look after the whole of Scotland with Dundee, Edinburgh, St Andrews. I mean, that's the funny thing is all the protests were at the what is the World HQ, but it's not actually the main office. The one that's the main office is actually the small old one, which is St Andrews, I think it's called off the top of my head, which is an old branch that's in Edinburgh. Yeah, I was there at the referendum, and hearing some of the voting, it was bizarre in the sense that I should have been more clear. I meant as in with the bank. You're with the you bank with them rather than with them. Yeah, okay, that's a bit different. Yeah, because I was actually dealing with all the maintenance and the all their buildings, making sure that all the generators, all that sort of stuff was running, all the contract was up and running properly. We had the right engineers, the right number of engineers, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, the Gogarburn, that's it. I've just remembered now. Yeah, Gogaburn's the World HQ in Edinburgh. That was actually bought as an entire estate. I think it's 96. Is it 96 hectares? It's a huge place, massive place. It's got its own nursery, greenery, massive place. Because we're actually going to have a helicopter there as well. When old, what's his name? Was it Fred? Before RBS took a bit of a nosedive, who's going to have a gold helicopter placed up there. Yeah, you just like you can go into any bank and take money out. Yeah, it's but I mean the bizarre thing is they've got a big push on getting people onto automated systems. You may have noticed there, if you go into some of the larger branches, they'll actually try and point you towards using the machines rather than going to the counters. It's because they're trying to get people away from using people. My personal view is always use people. Automation's nice and it's all right if everything works fine, but as soon as it breaks down and you're looking around and there's nobody available, that's when you realize it was much nicer when you had people that actually could fix things and talk to you rather than machine scrunching up your check or whatever. Yeah, sorry, I was completely off on a tangent there. The referendum, the staff in there, the interesting thing was one of the he's a guy that's on our high voltage. He's a high voltage AP approved person. He was at a party. Now he hadn't decided what side he was voting for, whether he was pro or against, but it was the way that somebody approached somebody else that had come from England saying you can go back home and all this sort of stuff, that made him vote against the independence, because it was just the way the person had gone in such a negative way, as if it was going to change something. But I would say with the SNP, they've had a lot of power. What have they done in a positive way in in Scotland, because I hear a lot of noise, and this is a bit of my viewpoint on the whole Brexit thing, is there's been a lot of easy blame on Europe in the same way the SNP's blamed a lot on Westminster, etc. And I think people forget SNP's had a lot of control over Scotland, and they don't seem to talk about that. Moby, hello from Israel. Thanks for the chat. I've been to Phil and love it. Getting ready to move there. Oh, that's great news. Whereabouts are you looking to move? Jamie Fernandez, do you have problems with occupiers in the area around La Mata? People that break into empty houses and start living there until many months later, the police kick them out. I would say that's more likely in places like a bit further inland, not far inland, but a bit, in a sense, probably 20 minutes from here, 15 minutes away, because the problem you have here in La Mata is everything's apartments. So there's nowhere really to break into, unless they're up near the water park. But yeah, I haven't really seen it, but I have seen it around some of the other areas, because I think after 5 years they can take ownership of the property, because obviously if there's a lot of places bankrupt or whatever and the banks own it, if they ain't keeping their eye on it, there's nothing to stop people moving in there. Hi, I'm Alan. I live in the most SNP pro area in Scotland. If you're with them, they like you. If you're against, they're nasty. I think that's the problem. I really do think that's the problem, because my family are actually Scottish. I'm originally Glaswegian by birth. We originally come out of Easterhouse, Castlemilk, those sort of nice areas in Glasgow. Cebu. Yeah. And whereabouts, since Moby's moving to Cebu, whereabouts you looking to move to? Because my place is a bit further south than the city. We're down in Minglanilla, which is probably about 30-45 minutes south of Cebu City. Straka, Matt, when you reflect on the number of languages your children speak, it's so impressive. Bilingual is assumed in several cultures, but multilingual is a testament to you and your wife's dedication. Thanks for that. Yeah, and I do want to stress it's one of the reasons we're in Europe. I was quite lucky as a child that I spent a lot of time overseas. I'm an ex-forces child, so I spent time in Germany, etc. I had a girlfriend before that didn't speak English. So I picked up a fair bit of German, but the big problem I had is I didn't maintain it, because when we moved to the UK, everything was English, and it's sort of like it's one of those things I wish I'd kept up. And once I get through get my head around the Spanish again, I'm going to go back to getting my German back up to speed, because in all honesty, I love Germany as well. I had a great childhood there. I visited again. I've gone to, because I like going to the Mosel Valley as well for the wine, etc. But I do love, the country. I do love the openness of the country. I find the people very nice. I've had a lot of good times in Germany, but yeah, I do need to get my own language back up to scratch. Jamie Fernandez, don't you have lots of empty places too? Me? I keep thinking I do, but then I go and check and they're already full. I mean, it's like the apartments. We've got people coming and going in the Philippines. And I was saying to my wife today, one of them's just been repainted. And I said, is there anybody in there? Because I'm going to, is it finished painted? Because we've got to get it advertised. And it says, oh no, the Portuguese guy's going in there. So it's already full. There's already somebody there for the next 6 to 10 weeks. So yeah, fully booked. I've got somebody moving out on the 29th of March, but the apartments don't seem to stay empty very long. 2006 Crusader, buy a security cam and all be all and have fun with every break-in. In the Philippines, we actually have IP cameras. We have a CCTV system set up, but here in Spain, it's not. Where we are, it's not a problem, because you've got people like myself in probably 1 in 3 blocks. So there's always somebody that knows everything in the building. So I suppose that puts a lot of people off, because you've got to get through the main doors, because obviously it's all electric. You can't. You need a key even to get in the main door. But beyond that, you would actually have to know somebody in the block, because A, if there's nobody in, you can't get in the block. But B, if somebody is in the block and they don't know you, they ain't going to let you in. So we don't. It's not here that's the problem. I think it's more on the Villa side. You know, you can get over the wall or up the gate, through the gate or whatever. But here it's more difficult to do that. Jamie Fernandez, come on, Matt. You live in Spain. Don't go to Germany for wine. Go to Toro or something. No, I cut right down on my wine consumption in the last probably about the last 5 years. But yeah, I do like German beer though as well. German beer, German wine, but it's more a case of I like it rather than excessively. I just enjoy it if I'm there, like Oktoberfest or something like that, you know. But once April's gone through this visa process, we will actually be moving around Europe a bit more as well. Because obviously once we got all the paperwork sorted, it opens the door of Europe. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm just catching up on the live chat. Yeah, I think it's important if you can give the kids the opportunity to learn more languages when they're younger, it does make it much easier for them, so that they have a long-term opportunity. Because if they learn it at an early age, it's difficult because it becomes it's more natural. I think as you get older, you start to you don't absorb it as much. I do find it a bit harder to absorb it. Moby. I still don't know where exactly I want to move to in Cebu yet. I'll decide when I arrive. Yeah, there's plenty of good places around. I'm sure you have a good time there while you. I do recommend traveling around a bit as well, because there's a lot of good places in Cebu. I mean, good north or south, or even in the middle. There's plenty to see and do. I do recommend traveling about a bit. I would say you have to decide what type of living you want if you're going to Cebu, though, because obviously you've got the city living, where Cebu City, where you could be in like the Ayala type setup, where they have their condos and stuff, and the mall's only like just over the road. Or there's more provincial stuff with some nice beaches, going down to the south of Cebu, or going to the north. I do find that it gets a lot cleaner the further you get away from the cities, because of the population issues and the management. But it all depends on the lifestyle. I like being slightly provincial. I mean, I like Minglanilla because it's a stone throw from the Cebu city, but also going south, it's not far to get out into the wilderness. So for me, I like just being outside the city, to get best of both worlds, because you got the hospitals on your doorsteps, the better schools on your doorstep. At the same time, you can head south without too much traffic hassles because you're already out of the city. So that's why I recommend, you know, for my own choice is actually just living outside of the city a bit. Yeah, hi, I'm Alan. I wonder if I could find work in Mallorca after college, if not maybe after uni. Um, yeah, you could certainly find it while you're in the holiday seasons. It depends what you're studying, because I mean, if you've got that overlap with your education, you might even be able to find a job in the country that uses your education. 2006 Crusader. Have I been to Isabella? Uh, where's that? I recognize the name, but I'm just wondering if it's the same place, because it's like La Mata. I think there's 5 La Matas in Spain. But probably not if I can't say it from memory. But the name rings the bell, so I might have driven past it going somewhere else. Hi, I'm Alan. Jamie Fernandez. I need to see if they speak Spanish or more Catalan. Um, Yeah, I think I suppose it depends the type of work you get as well. Yeah, because everybody does speak Spanish. Because I mean, Andreas on the video we did before when I was interviewing Andreas in his office, they speak four languages even at the same time sometimes. With the different people talking to different people. Uh, yeah, so yeah, I would start with Spanish because it'd be much easier to find. Um, it's more national because everybody speaks it. Where if you go more of a local language, it could be a bit more difficult because everybody's going to speak Spanish, but not everybody will speak Catalan. So it may be better to speak Catalan. I'm doing a computer course now, but I have my interview for travel and tourism, which will take me to the highest course, then uni. Okay. Well, you might be able to tap into it's worth contacting some UK companies on that side as well, then, because they may even be able to point you in the right direction of what they're looking for. Because obviously, I would search around online and see what courses and certification that the companies are looking for, because that'll give you something to map to your qualifications. Because if they're looking for Spanish language or Spanish in Dutch, Spanish in French, Spanish in German, then obviously you can build that into your time while you're still doing your other courses, because obviously you can start learning the languages part-time. 2006 Crusader, Isabela, Philippines. No, I haven't been there yet. I have heard of it. I do know people there. I just can't remember who, because a lot of the people aren't in the Philippines as much, because once I started moving out of the Philippines, I've got a strong group of friends that I associate with on a regular basis, but a lot of other people have sort of moved backwards and forwards. Either they've sort of retired out in the Philippines, then thought we'll go back to the US or whatever, then they come back again. Or they've moved over to Panama or whatever. A lot of people have gone since I first moved out to the Philippines. Either they died because they weren't that young when they moved out there in the first place, but or they've gone back to Europe. Well, a lot of them have gone back to Europe. Younger guys have brought their families to Europe, and some of them have gone to the US and other countries. Johnny Fanta, is there any reason you pick La Mata over Torrevieja? I prefer La Mata. I think my personal preference, Torrevieja's too built up for me. The buildings are too close. It's only 10 minutes up the road from me anyway, but Torrevieja is just a bit friendlier. Well, it's a holiday place. It's a bit more spread out. But yeah, Torrevieja is not far anyway. I can go there on a push bike or even walk it. It's only €1.25 on the bus. So, but yeah, it's a bit like living in a more of a village environment than living in a big town. I think that's the easiest way to define the two. Moby, it's not looks like a big island. I think after the first month I'll get some idea. Yeah, it's not a big island at all. You can get around it on a motorbike. There is actually 24-hour cycle race. They'll actually go around the whole island in 24 hours. So yeah, you see the island, you can get around on no problem at all. But it's worth doing as well. It is really worth going around, whether you go on a motorbike or take the buses or whatever. It's worth exploring the place. It's an interesting place to have a look around. Hi, I'm Alan. I'll just do that. I can't wait to do the course in a couple of months. Also, I can study Spanish since it's an option too. Yeah, I agree. Because the thing is, a lot of this stuff will take time to develop anyway. So doing like 30 minutes of Spanish a day, it can only help. It can only help, really. So there's no downside to actually spend a bit more time developing your own skill set. Hi, I'm Alan. We'll have to go. Have a great night, guys. You too, mate. Take it easy. Thanks for joining us. 2006 Crusader. I heard from my girlfriend that province life can be very boring. It depends how far out you go, yeah, but I do agree. It depends if you can keep yourself busy. If you see a lot of expats, they get involved in building things, from whether they do farms or building their own construction projects or boats or something. You've got to keep yourself occupied doing something, otherwise you become extremely bored, because if you're too far out, you haven't got many people to talk to, because the local conversations aren't that exciting. They are if you're local, but from a Western perspective, it's one of the things many people struggle with. I know got it brought up the other day relating to somebody talks about politics, and it's like, well, you do, because the reason being is that may be the first foreigner you've bumped into that would actually even get engaged and know what you were talking about, because locally they don't have the same in-depth knowledge of where you come from, because they have their knowledge of their community, their country, etc. And as such, you can get a bit isolated in that sense. Yeah, so yeah, I would say that. It's a good conversation though. It's quite busy and all over the place. Got bits in the Philippines, bits in Spain, bit on language learning. Yeah, it's quite good. Anybody else got a topic? Yeah, 2006 says I have one advantage. I'm never bored. Yeah, I've got to admit, I've actually got 4 training courses I want to do this week. I always stack things up. If I see something when I'm busy, I actually write it down or set it up. So when I've got downtime, I'll just sit and do a training course or do something else. It's why I've sort of moved on in my career-wise, because I started off with one set of skills and I've just kept developing them and absorbing off other people and just constantly learning whatever is available. So yeah, I can understand if you that way in mindset, you're always doing something. You very rarely sit down and do nothing. And that's like now. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm still doing a live chat. Johnny Fanta, what's the internet speeds like? Is fiber connections widespread in Spain or the Philippines? In Spain, I don't have it. I can see a billboard that tells me I can get 300 megabytes, but when I call them, they say no. Right, tomorrow is Monday. Have to work. Buenas noches. Buenas noches. Speak again soon. Take it easy. Thanks for joining us. In the Philippines, it's all over the place. If you're near the bigger cities, they can be good, but at the same time, the area is still, if they still suffer with brownouts, you're still going to risk having the whole exchange down, etc. There is better in improving, but I know the problems we've been having in Minglanilia this week, that the internet is still a problem, because saying that their exchange is full, so we can't open another connection up with them at the minute. The Globe connection's been letting us down, and we did have a Smart Bro antenna, which is this. It's a transponder. It works on like a Wi-Fi type system. I think it was originally developed in Hawaii. The type of system. I'm not sure they still do that, but I always found that really reliable. But they back home they cancelled it and kept with the Globe connection. So I think that might have to have a look at that, see if we change it back and get the antenna one, because it's got no problems with cables or anything, because it's just an antenna on a big pole 20 feet in the air and works really well. It's stable. Moby, I don't have a motorbike driving license. Do I need one? Can I get it in the field? I was thinking more with a car. You can go, yeah, you can do it in a car as well, but it's probably the easiest option would be probably hiring a driver with a car. That way you've got no hassles with worrying about the vehicle, parking it, or anything else. You just hire the whole vehicle with the driver, and you normally just buy them their lunch as well. I'm not sure what the day rates are these days. I used to pay 1,500 pesos a day plus lunch and fuel. So yeah, it depends. But yeah, cars good as well. The reason I say motorbike is just quicker, and also you can, when you ride the motorbike, it's more open. But that's my personal thing. I like the fresh air and stuff. I'll buy the license. Yeah, I'm not even going to mention that, but I'd say yeah, it's possible. My license is actually a real one though. I did get mine. Oh, they did give me the wrong one the first time around. So I went in for a motorbike and they put the car one on, not the motorbike. And then when I went back and says, because I got stopped by the police, and then they let us go because we were going to call a relative up, and they're like, "Oh, who's your relative?" And then it was no problem. So when I went in the second time, I'll tell you what was funny is all I wanted to know was whether they'd done it wrong the first time round. And I got the head of the LTO for Talisay, like basically like, if you're not happy, go somewhere else. And my wife explained to him that I wasn't arguing with him. I was asking him if they got it wrong or not, because I just needed to know so I could advise other people if it was right or wrong. Because the first guy said that that's normal. I didn't think it was normal. You go in there for a license, they give you a car license, then you've got to go back in a couple of months and get a motorbike added to it, which is why we're having this conversation in the first place. And then it comes to the fact that while I had to do my test, which was riding on the motorbike in a straight line, probably about 60 feet, turn around and come back, complete with knee pads and helmet. My wife was explaining, I just wanted to know so I could put it on my blog so people were aware of it. And he was like, "Oh, we don't normally have foreigners like that. They normally want to argue and stuff." It's like, no, he just wants to know, so he's stick on the blog. He's aware it could have been a mistake. So, and that was it. Don't license another one. But yeah, it's welcome to the Philippines. But yeah, I'm not saying you could buy a license, wink, wink, but those things do happen, I believe. But yeah, if you're happier in a car, go in the car. Depending on what time you go as well. In the wet season, I'll be a bit careful because especially with the larger buses, if you see the state of the tires and the brakes on them, they're not the safest of vehicles. In all honesty, there's been some serious accidents with the buses because they're not maintained properly. You sometimes see where they've actually glued tread over another old tire. They basically glued new tread on an old tire. So that's a bit of a warning sign on the buses that it may not be the safest thing for you. But I've traveled on the buses. I'll man up to that. I've also gone on the motorbike, been a pillion passenger on a motorbike before, gone by my full before. But ultimately, do what you feel safe with, and I recommend traveling around and just experiencing everywhere because Cebu Island's got a lot to offer. I suppose I think it's Moboal. Moboal's pretty good as well. If you go to Moboal, they've got some really nice beaches there. So Moboal's in the sort of like southwest. I think it's near Toledo. That's worth visiting. And in the north Cebu, where did we go? We were up there for a big airsoft tournament. I'll try to think of the name of the place now. Is it Magellan? I think it's Magellan, something like that. That's quite a nice place as well. Some nice resorts there. Going out at 6 o'clock in the morning. The water's not very deep, but it's very clear, and you can have a wander around, and it's just nice. It's a nice place to hang out. Like I said, Moboal and South's good, but also if you go on the main road heading south and head all the way down, just going down through Argo and just keep going, you can get a ferry there over to Negros Island as well, which isn't expensive, and it's worth, if you're down that far, it's worth going over there for a couple of nights or a night because it's a little bit different. It was nice down there because of the water. When you got that far south, you could see the little tiger fish. They're under the jetty where the boat is, and it's so clear, it's blue, and there's little fish there. It was just a nice experience. I think I've actually got video of those fish. When this is video the same day we put a motorbike on a banker along a wooden plank, and I was just thinking they're going to drop the motorbike in a minute. But yeah, welcome to the Philippines. You've got to do it though, because if you're going to settle somewhere, I'd recommend just traveling around the whole place and just getting a feel for it. not the whole of the Philippines, but if you're staying on Cebu Island, it's worth going all the way around. Also, if you going to Bohol, you can get a ferry from Pier 1, and it's only going to cost you probably about, I don't know, about 600 pesos. Uh, Dennis, do you think you're missing something by living in a place where so many immigrants in it, like having grocery stores and everything in English, is not exactly authentic Spanish experience? La Mata is Spanish, though. There's hardly any English here. It's more, every shop owner here is Spanish, except for obviously we've got a couple of Indian restaurants, etc. But most of the people who seem to come here, La Mata, seem to come from Bilbao. Everybody I speak to, they've come from Bilbao or going back to Bilbao or selling a property for somebody that was from Bilbao. We also get people from Madrid and Barcelona come here. It's quite common to see what do you call it, Madrid taxis here, because they drive here in their taxis. So yeah, it's mainly Spanish here, in all honesty. If I go further, like I'd probably say Torrevieja was probably a bit more 50-50. But it's not like San Luis or some of the other bigger places which are predominantly British, where you have things like Washington Pub and things like that. It's more of a Spanish environment. Yeah, mobile. Thanks. I did like Bohol. Yeah, it's a nice place. It is a nice place. I enjoy traveling around the Philippines. I like people. You know, the people are all friendly. It doesn't matter where you go. Everybody's pretty friendly. It's a wonderful country. It's just one of those things. I mean, at the moment we're in Europe, getting my wife and kids settled here. I'm going to explore more Europe. I would love to get my mother-in-law over to take her to see the Vatican and stuff. That's something I would love to do for my mother-in-law. But we're going to explore a bit of Europe for now, because obviously my wife's explored a lot of the Philippines. She's worked in Manila, etc., and obviously been in Cebu and other places. So it'd be nice to actually explore Europe, because obviously we have a lot more cultures and stuff for, because obviously we don't often see it from our point of view, because obviously if we come from Europe, it's often all very similar. We're in the same way that some people find the Philippines a bit similar if you're used to traveling around and seeing it on a daily basis as well. 2006 Crusader. Why is it so many guys leave their country not liking it, but in Thailand or the Philippines look for a countryman there? I don't know. I think a lot of people come out of their environment. It's not normally related to people they know. I think it's more to do with the changes within those countries, because politics is often a hot topic. But a lot of guys move because they want another partner, because I mean, people say people struggle in their own country, but I think in all honesty, I couldn't be bothered. I haven't been single for very long, since school age, but at the same time, going to the Philippines, I found that culturally it was more in line with traditional life, and I'm happy with that. I'm not too keen on the way the Western culture has gone. It's not the way I want my kids brought up. It's not the environment I want their future. So for me, that's my reasoning behind it. But I do find that people do seem to cluster together, but also you find a lot of the people in the Philippines, there's a lot of people that don't cluster together, and often the ones that don't cluster together are often the most interesting people, or doing business, etc., because they keep out of the way of everybody else, because they're just quite happily minding their own business and not really trying to get involved with too many people, because often it's because some of the groupings, some of the people within them are not the most desirable people. So yeah, I don't know why people need to find people of their own backgrounds, etc., but it does happen a lot. But myself, I'm not too fussed. I do like having conversations with people, but at the same time, you find most of the time when I'm in the Philippines, I normally spend my time with Filipinos. Jamie Fernandez, try visiting other places in Spain too. Seriously, if you want to visit wineries, go to Toro. They also make some artisan beers in the wineries now. We will be. We will be. At the moment, we're just getting through this immigration process, which has been my Achilles heel. Once that's done, we're going to start spreading our wings a bit more, because I do like experiencing different places. In Spain, we've only just touched the surface. I mean, we went to Valencia, and we were only in Valencia for probably about 4.5 hours, and we were already thinking we like this. And then when we seen the big science museum place up there, we already know we need to go back and spend at least a day just in the museum. Never mind going into the actual exploring Valencia itself. Same with Barcelona, Madrid, and even where there's a I'm trying to think what the places. There's a place that's got some really, really good food, and some of it's expensive. They have like tinned food that's like 200 euros for one can and stuff. We want to visit there because we've seen it, and like one of the things we do love is food. So yeah. It is one of those things for us. If it's got good food, we'll end up there. Good wine, we'll end up there. The other thing with Spain now, the kids are in school, which is the other side of this, because Spain's such a vast country. Getting over to these places during the work week could be a bit difficult. But I suppose once we get set up properly, I think we'll be doing some weekends away. That's for sure, because I think we deserve it. We worked hard. You know, the time we've been doing with moving to Spain, we've been working hard on making it happen. So we do deserve a break. And nothing better than going to places that have good food and good wine. Gulas, yeah. The Jamie Fernandez, yeah. I've seen a lot of stuff around it, and that's why I'm like, yeah, we need to go there. My wife wants to go there as well, so yeah. I can see us doing some food adventures later on. So I need to work on my camera work as well, so that we can actually improve some of our food videos. Because we go to those places, we'll have to do some stuff that actually promotes the food and drinks in these areas, because it's such an amazing thing to be doing. You know, it's an experience. 2006 Crusader. Every time I hear my native tongue, I go the opposite direction. Yeah, I know. I don't go looking for foreigners. When I'm in the Philippines, I don't mind if people talk to me, but I do find some of them are a bit strange in the Philippines. You know, some of the way people live are very, you know, I do wonder how. I think that some of them are very racist. I think that's the easiest way of putting it. I think they've got very strange views on the world. But like I said, I'll talk to anybody for a bit. You know, if we don't hit it off, or you know, I think they're going a bit strange on me, I'll just call it a day. I'll quite happily like met them. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what the percentages would be on people that you would get on with, you know, in the sense that there is a lot of strange people out there. And there's a lot of people drink too much. There's some violent people. There's some strange people. So, yeah. Yeah, Gulas is the food, not the place. They get super expensive. Yeah, I can't remember what it was. It was on the, what's his name? My wife watches them all the time. The guy does No Reservations. The No Reservations food show. Spain. There was a certain place he was at, and it's famous for it. But that's where we want to visit. But also, I think it's worth getting down to where there's some good seafood. You know, in the sense where it's just come off the dock and all that sort of stuff, fresh there. You know, like cooked right on the end of it. You know, on the end of the pier. So it's you know, straight from the boat, straight to the plate. I'd love that. Anthony Bourdain, yeah, Anthony Bourdain did a good one on Spain. He did a good show on Spain. There was some interesting stuff in there. 2006 Crusader. If the Christmas tree is still up, run. Yeah, well, is it still up, or have they just put it up early? That's the question. Because they do seem to put them up about 4 months early. Just warming my coffee back up. Yeah, but yeah, search for the Anthony Bourdain one, because that was quite a nice video relating to Spain and Spanish food. It's quite a new, good show, that one. Because my wife likes Anthony Bourdain. I do like his cooking shows, although you can't really call them cooking shows. It's more about an exploration of food, different countries, cultures, etc., rather than more of a this is going in the pot type thing. But yeah, I do like his shows. There is some interesting things in there. But yeah, the Spanish one was good. I've been looking for. There's a couple of other guys that chef-wise that do have done some stuff in Spain. I'm looking for their stuff as well, because the good thing about it is they have a background on the food. They know where this stuff, the best places are, etc. Because although I love food, my wife's the one that's more cultural on the food. She knows where the best locations are, etc. Because she's researched it a lot more than me, because she's into it in that way. Yeah, Jamie Fernandez. This is a travel kind of guy. Yeah, he travels and explores the food. It's more of a eating and talking about where he is, etc. But I think that's the appeal, though, because it's a mix. He actually throws a bit of local culture in there, as well as the local culture and local palate. I think that's the good thing. But I suppose that's one of the things that I would say about the Philippines, though. The food there is a bit limiting compared to some of the other areas. I love spicy food, and most of the guys I know in the Philippines can't eat some of the stuff I eat. Oh, yeah. Jamie Fernandez. Gordon Ramsay did some drama shows on the coast of Spain, Costa Nightmares. Yeah, I've seen the first two. But the problem, he does it too much he's too abusive. He tries too hard. He's got to shout all the time. He's not constructive in that way. But I mean, I know the guy knows his stuff about food, but I think he plays to the camera a bit too much. But obviously, that's where he makes his money. So one of us is doing it right. It's him. But yeah, it was with that one. He was basically trying to kickstart businesses again, restaurants that sort of fell by the wayside over the years, sort of got run down. Or, I mean, there was like chefs and stuff sleeping inside the restaurants. There were, yeah, it wasn't the best show, that's for sure. I don't know yeah, Jamie Fernandez, he has like a mad guy persona. Yeah, I think when he's in front of the camera, he's very different to when he, face to face. But in a kitchen environment, it probably works as well, because not the belittling people. I'm sure that's for the camera, but I'm sure where he's actually at full pelt inside a restaurant, in a kitchen or something, I'm sure he yells at people, "Where's this? Where's that?" just to keep everybody in check. Because obviously, if you're standing, "Oh, excuse me, have you done that yet?" It doesn't work. You need to keep everything high pace, especially if you're in a very, very busy restaurant. But it's a bit like, what's that other guy? There's the guy that Riverside Cottage. I don't know if you've seen that, Jamie Fernandez. Riverside Cottage guy. He actually got sacked from a restaurant for being untidy, etc. But he's made good money out of the TV. He's done all right out of it. 2006 Crusader. I eat chili paste like jam. Yeah, I'm as bad. I really am. I eat raw peppers and everything else. My wife puts peppers in stuff that shouldn't have peppers, because I just like hot things. It's just the way I am. I love spicy stuff. Yeah. Jamie Fernandez. Yeah, I worked in a kitchen. People do scream. Yeah, if it's busy, it's busy. It's like anywhere, especially if nobody's listening. You know, if you're shouting for something, you need it now, then yeah, you will get people yelling at you like, "Where the are you?" Yeah, the Riverside Cottage. It's called. It's got a double barrel name. It's Hugh. What's his name? Hugh. Hang on. Hugh Fernley something. Yeah. His name's Hugh Fernley Whittingstall. But he got sacked as a chef. But he does a lot on the old environmental type cooking and the homegrown farm type. So it's an interesting one. Yeah, 2000 Crusade. I eat my spaghetti with chili paste. Funny enough, that's what we had for lunch today. And yeah, I'm the same. I'm the same. The same as I eat I have the big piece of the pepper. I don't even grind the peppers down. I just throw them in there. I do like them. I don't know why. I don't know, like even when it's on my gums or, where it's just burning away. It just tastes nice. I don't know. It's just one of those things. Yeah, I think it's the bizarre thing is when somebody's tried to eat my food when I'm not there, you can tell when they have, because, like when somebody wants to try what you're eating and then they suddenly realize they shouldn't have done because the nose is running, the eyes are running, and they're just trying to keep a straight face. Yeah. Jamie Fernandez, is there no show in the UK like Españols for El Mundo with British people living in another country? Now, funny enough, I was saying this to my wife. The fact is they should do more TV shows like that. And I think they would be good for the American market as well. Basically, it's a TV show where they visit people in other countries, like, they're from Spain, but they live in other countries, and it goes about what they're doing, what they enjoy there, how they live there, their lifestyles, etc. And I do think that would be culturally very good for most countries to actually see how other people live that come from their own country in other countries and what they like, what they dislike, etc. Because it expands the mindset beyond just living in their own area. No, they don't. There isn't a show like that. but I was saying to my wife, I do think that'd be a very good one. Like actually showing Brits from around the world, different countries, different environments, what they do, how they live, what they're up to, how they enjoy the country, and experience it. Yeah, we don't have anything like that, and I haven't seen anything on the American side either. Because I find a lot of the food shows a bit strange when they, when they do I'm not trying to hammer any Americans here because I think they get the same crap because it's for the exact same reason it's a problem, is because they do it like foods from around the world in every state. And it's like, that's not around the world. That's only within the US. It's like around the world, it's outside of that. It's bigger than that. And I think that's the thing. I think there needs to be more overlap. Because culturally, I think it makes people have a broader view on the world. As some of the guys earlier talked about, like Alan, about Mongolian, you get a cultural awareness of other countries by having something that takes an interest. And food is one of those things people get interested in. Seeing other people from their own country in another country gets that interest going, thinking, I could do that. Or what are they up to? It creates a bit of fascination. Jamie Fernandez, the expats in Benidorm show and bargain Brits just make British people look terrible. They're cheap entertainment. They're cheap entertainment. At the end of the day, the Benidorm show is a bit of a joke, or probably on the back of the bargain Brits, in the sense that they're very similar. But at the same time, those people, what I like about those people, though, is they're not really bothering anybody else. They are like little Brit towns. in the sense that bargain-loving Brits is Brits living in Spain, and the majority of them seem to live on the same campsite. But at the same time, they're geared toward tourism, and it's just British tourism. Um, but at the same time, they're not hurting anybody, not doing anything bad. I mean, some of the stuff you might go, "Oh my god," but at the same time, they're happy. One thing I will say, I do see them as happy people. They don't have a big budget, they don't have a lot of money, but every time you see them, they're smiling. And the one thing none of them want to do is go back to the UK. They love Spain. They love Spain, and I know they've made a little bit of Britain in Spain, their version of Britain in Spain. But at the same time, I think for Benidorm area, it's the only way you'd make that work, because the whole area is geared up for the British tourists. And there was a show, I can't remember what it's called. I remember watching it one late night where it was actually covering the people that have to deal with the accommodation and the crap that they have to put up with. And they had said how things had changed over the years. Where the original Brits used to come to Spain, they were, maybe their first holiday, but they were more civil and things like that. And now anything goes. They've got a transition. I think it's slowly moved away from civility to chaos, I suppose. Jamie Fernandez. One guy said the problem in Benidorm is too many Spanish people, and there's some weirdo that does so having a hot girlfriend. All weird people. Yeah, well, the Benidorm TV show is a bit of a laugh at it. Yeah. Yeah, the other 2000s Crusader, Jamie, Benidorm is British now. Laugh out loud. Yeah, I agree. It's become just around that. And I think I was reading something, because I've got the mayor's face in my head, about the mayor that actually made Benidorm what it is, the Spanish mayor, and he's very proud of it. But I do know that a lot of Spaniards do not like it. And even when you hear about the taxi drivers, the taxi drivers are a lot of them dislike the Brits these days. But if they weren't there, what would be there? That's the question. I mean, they do generate work, they do bring in money. And even if it is a bit of a drunken whatever, without saying any bad words, it still pays the bills, and I think that's why it's put up with. People do things they wouldn't normally do at home? Of course they do. They think they can get away with it. Well, a lot of time they do get away with it. But Fernandez says it's easy for me not to care because I'm not there. Exactly. That's why I'm in La Mata. I'm not in a Brit town. I'm in a more Spanish location, because I didn't want to live in one of those environments. I don't get me wrong, if that's the way people want to live, etc., that's fine, but it's just not me. I'm more interested in the local life and talking to the old people here about life in Spain. And I mean, a lot of the guys in La Mata must be about 70. There's a lot of little old ladies as well, I speak to on a daily basis. Not much, but we do have a little conversation, how they're getting on and how the cold weather's affecting their knees, etc. But yeah, it's a different thing. I mean, Benidorm's more of a party town. It's more get drunk, fall off the balcony, or do something stupid type place. I mean, at the end of the day, Spain could change it if it wanted to, but I think because there's that much money generated, does it really want to? Probably not. It's quite happy just to leave it. And I'm sure when people do something stupid, they still get fined anyway. So I know there's a lot of stuff going on up there, and I know some Brits from around where I live actually go there to look at the tourists, a bit like a safari park. So yeah, it's a bit wild. That's for sure. That's certainly true. But I don't dislike the place. It's just not somewhere I'd live. The funny thing is, we actually want to go there just to see it. I mean, I haven't been to Benidorm. I just know of it. I know of people that actually go there on a holiday and stuff. And a lot of people do fit a specific stereotype quite well. Yeah, 2006 Crusader. Thank God Angeles City is not like that. Yeah, it's a bit different. But it's yeah, Benidorm's a bit too wild. I think it's talking to, who was it the other day? There was somebody who was talking to. Oh, that was it. That was Expat and Mazaron. He was on about that being up there for some photography thing, and it was like early in the morning. He just had a cup of coffee or something, and they still gave him a shot of alcohol with his coffee, and it's like it's not even 10 a.m. yet. I think that's the that's the problem. It's like even when you're not wanting alcohol, they're giving it to you. Jamie Fernandez, I live in a very unpopulated region of Spain, so I wish we got lots of tourists. You could promote it. Do what I'm doing with La Mata. I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of people are wanting new lives now. A lot of people want to move overseas and to places that are better cost of, cheaper cost of living, but at the same time, they've got to have some. Like me, I need internet. Internet's killing me at the minute. I've got bad internet. I don't know when I'm getting good internet. But if your location had great internet, etc., that's one major selling point. Andy, a friend of mine, Andy, he's a bit further inland. He's looking at moving up to Santa Pola at the minute. Now, his internet's important because he works online. But at the same time, if it was like an amazing location, with good internet, I'm sure there'd be people wanting to move up there. Because the house prices would be cheaper for a start. I mean, at the end of the day, the prices in La Mata, I think if it went further inland, would be about half the price. And that's a big difference. If you can get the places half the price, why not? I mean, one of the things I was thinking about was seeing that Benidorm and the Bargain Lover Brits was actually setting up a campsite somewhere. Because then I do not begrudge people there, because I've got to be honest here, the Bargain Lover Brits ones, I've got to separate those from the Benidorm holiday makers that are a bit different. The Bargain Lover Brits lot are more people that are just happy to go lucky, just enjoying life and quietly living their lives in Spain. The Benidorm ones are doing all sorts of weird stuff, drinking as soon as they wake up in the morning, that sort of stuff. So, but the Bargain Lover Brits may not have a lot of money, but they're not bad people. Jamie Fernandez, here we even hear radio announcements that say XX town is looking for a couple with 3 or more kids to reopen the school and stuff like that. Hey, let me know. If they'll help me with immigration, we'll move. We don't mind. I love all that stuff. It's there's a nice movie actually. I think it's called The African Doctor. He moved to France. Just double check. It's not in English. Warning already. It's in French. But I think it's called The African Doctor. It's it's a movie, 2016. That was basically the mayor of a town had been looking for a doctor for years and couldn't get a doctor, and this African guy agreed to do it because he needed to become a French citizen, or resident then citizen. So he was living in this remote town, and it's a comedy type movie, but it's actually based on a true story. Because obviously there's a lot of prejudice, because back then when they were doing the movie, that town hadn't seen somebody from Africa, so it was like a double take type thing where they're like, what, but eventually things changed. I'm not going to ruin the movie, but I would say a good movie, very good movie. It's in French. You have to watch it with subtitles, but I did enjoy it. Yeah, there you go, Jamie Fernandez. Exactly. There are some doctor positions that never get covered around here. There you go. It's exactly the same. So yeah, there is opportunities there. Jamie, I think we should touch base. I'd be interested in knowing where you live and a bit about it, because it sounds like, sounds the sort of place I would be interested in. It's I mean, the kids are settled here, but I'd certainly be interested in visiting and having a look around. And but there's a lot of, if you get a community going, because I know some of the problems is the age. A lot of people getting old, and then the younger people are moving to Barcelona, Madrid, etc. So they're having population issues where people are migrating to the cities. But at the same time, there's a lot of people that actually just want a nice location to live and a good community to live in. So yeah, I'd be interested in that. I'd be interested in knowing more. That's for sure. It sounds interesting. Yeah, you'll have to let me know on that. By the way, if anybody ever wants to message me, you can actually see it under my YouTube name. If I can open it up, it's on the sort of bottom right. If you go to my about page, there's contact information for anybody who wants to get hold of me. Yeah, Jamie Fernandez. It's a mountain region. Weather is bad. Jobs are bad. Yeah, Straka. That was a great movie. True story. Yeah. That's what I was saying. It's very, very nice. Yeah, Jamie. Though the weather doesn't really affect me too much. I'm more into countryside and whatever. But it all depends how far the nearest airports are. Because work-wise, I'm more international anyway. So say hour away from the airport, maybe not a problem, but if it's like 5 hours, it's a bit different. But I do see, like, if you go further inland, there's a lot more opportunities. There you go. 2006 Crusaders offering to repopulate repopulate Jamie Fernandez's village for him. My girlfriend and I plan on having 36 children, so watch out, Jamie. Right, I'm going to head to bed anyway, guys. It's been great having you on board. I hope everybody has a great day, and it's been nice chatting. I think we're going to start doing these regularly on the Sunday, so it's going to be probably about 11 o'clock Sunday night event when everybody goes to bed and it's quiet and nobody's hogging the internet for anything. But it's been great having everybody here, and thanks for joining, and look forward to seeing you guys next week. Oh, hang on, Jamie Fernandez. Yeah, I'm not sure if Madrid is the closest airport, which is like hours. But yeah, good night. Yeah, 2 hours ain't too bad. I can manage 2 hours. 2006 Crusader, can we get any money from the EU? Yeah, of course you can. Yeah. What do you want it for, though? Depends what you want it for. Night, guys. Have a great evening.